Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Met Shania, which may or may not be a dream of mine. How was that?
Well, so I've always told you I've been lucky in life, and things have really, I've been blessed. And I look at the other night, I was in the suite with Gary Bettman and Bill Daly, had some incredible conversations. Then all of a sudden I turned around and Shania was in there with her husband and their friends and her handlers. And she's a true legitimate hockey fan. She was oohing and eyeing and cringing on, every shot that hit the post. And she was all Oilers all the way. But it was pretty cool to see what a down-to-earth person she is for such a world-renowned superstar.
Of course, she's the second most famous person from Timmins, Ontario, behind Dave Poulin. But anyways, to the game, how much did the 5-minute major downgraded to 2 affect the outcome, do you think, in the first period?
It was important because I do believe that they got the call right in that instance because, it happened so fast. And I like the fact that it didn't take forever to get the ruling. And I think they were looking at, I think it was Fogle that went through, but he was skating as the player was tripped. He went into Fogle, and it ended up showing that it hit his arm and his chest, basically. So it was a correct call, in my opinion, definitely a 2-minute penalty. But at the same time, I don't think that affected the game. The most important part of the game was the fact that the Oilers started putting pucks to the paint from behind the goal line, from the corners, certainly from the slot. And they had played perimeter hockey. Granted, the Panthers had forced them, but they took advantage of home ice, the matchups the other night. They took some players out of the lineup. I thought the Oilers did a lot of things right. I don't fault Bob for any of the goals against. They just figured out they had to get pucks to the paint somehow, and they did a great job of it.
Yeah, I don't blame Bob. And by the way, the penalty didn't really affect the game either. But
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hola. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show on a Tuesday, game day, Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final, and we're going to be talking a lot about that and all your favorite sports topics coming up for the next 2 hours here on Game Plus Television and WQEE Radio, your southern home of sports and talk. Down there in Atlanta, 99.1 FM, and, of course, streaming. I'm here at the beautiful Golden Ticket Sports Center. It's a very special day here today. In a moment, I'm going to tell you why. The Moose is in Toronto, and I'll tell you, as he gets all set up there, Sportsnet's Ken Reid is going to be joining us. He was on Spit and Chicklets last week, by the way, and Spit and Chicklets will be making a cameo in our Quick Six show topics. And Bobby Biceps Picorni, my favorite member of the Moose Jaw Miller Express, is going to be joining us here live in hour 2 on an off day as we debut today our Western Canadian Baseball League chat and report where we preview the premier Canadian Collegiate Baseball League in the summer, of which I'm a part of. Okay, Moose, so Bobby Biceps is coming down. What's up with you? Tell everybody you got an exciting night. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And hopefully I can double dip and still watch Game 5 in the Stanley Cup Final because that's really important. But going to go down to the Blue Jays game. Been invited. The Joe Carter Classic is this week. And so there's a reception at the ball game ahead of time with Joe Carter and his foundation. And everybody is going to be there. So I was lucky enough to get an invite. So we'll be going down to the ballpark, hanging out there, and then watching the game tonight.
Touch 'em all, Joe. Oh, my, what a call of the 93 World Series. You have fun tonight. I'm a little jealous, but I'm hunkered down for this. Tuna, can you hit the Quick Six show horn? We'll quit Mickey Mouse and big-time show here. We got a lot of things going on. The Florida Panthers have a second chance tonight to hoist the Stanley Cup when they welcome the Edmonton Oilers in Game 5 of the best-of-7 series. The Panthers, who lead the championship series 3-1, were crushed in Edmonton 8-1 on Saturday night. Should a 6th game be necessary, it'll be Friday night in the Alberta Capitals. So let's just flop it out there right now. Our poll question today is who will win Game 5 tonight? That's our daily poll question. On Twitter, 60% of people saying it will be Florida, I believe is what it was. On Instagram, it's 50%. So you got 24 hours to vote, and who really knows at this point? But put me down for a Florida, and we can get into the reasons why. I'm talking to my Florida friends, still getting pressure to be there, and I'll explain again why I'm not, but I'm happy to be tuning in tonight on Sportsnet and CBC across Canada for what I expect will be a Florida win. And I just said to them, are you feeling nervous, guys? And the fans are feeling nervous. In a way, I'm sure the Panthers players are too, but I think it ends tonight, Moose. How about you?
Oh, boy. You know what? I don't think it ends tonight. I think the Oilers find a way to get one on the road here, and then she's wide open, baby. But you know what? I can see how it would end because what happened on Saturday night this is playoff hockey. And I know it was only Saturday, but really it's so far in the rearview mirror now. Those 2 days off between games is an eternity and complete reset. And if those memes of Spider-Man, looking at Spider-Man, if those are correct, it was the NHL looking at the NBA finals where Dallas blew out Boston in game number 4, just like Edmonton blew out Florida. Well, Boston came back and, really dominated game 5, won the NBA championship last night. So Florida looking to do the exact same thing. And there's proof that it's absolutely possible.
Well, listen, this series to me has been great. They're all great. I often say you can find a reason to be excited about any game, any series, and we're seeing, obviously, we knew there were millions of Oilers fans around the world, but we're also learning, what's something I've known for a while now, that the Panthers have a hell of a lot of fans, too. I've enjoyed the stories on their fandom, and the NHL is putting up photos. I don't know if you've seen it, from the NHL account of Panthers fans from 30 years ago to now, and they haven't moved. They've been cheering for the team this long because, again, the image, the narrative is that the Panthers have 6 fans, and they kind of have a joke about that in South Florida, but it's also a chip on their shoulder. So we've learned about the Florida fan base. The Edmonton fan base is revived. And by the way, the Oilers have been through a lot of crap, too. We all know that because we're in Canada. They're a Canadian team. You don't get this far in the Stanley Cup playoffs without being worthy of being there. It's 2 worthy winners, right? But I'd be happy if both teams won, but I'm pulling for Florida. As I said, I live there now, and it's going to change hockey in Florida forever, of which I plan to be a part, which is, furthermore, I'm going to try and stay on track here. But people are people. This is not just an Oiler fan thing, but I've been going back and forth with Joe Madden here this morning because she took a real swing at the Oilers yesterday, a few of them actually. And I think it's because she's in Calgary and she's a Flames fan, but I don't know if you've seen, but she's been called a bimbo by women, have written in on our social media channels and called Joe a bimbo. There's guys that have said, you don't effing know anything about hockey and all the rest. And she's not having a tough time with him, but she's going right back at him. So I just texted her, and I just said, Joe, don't let these blankety blanks get to you, which I've told her many times before. I said, the more success you have, the more haters you're going to get. And I got a ton, and I just ignore them. You do what you want, but just don't let it bring you down. And she's like, oh, I'm fine. But this is like, the people that hate Tom Brady and the people that wrote in here yesterday saying, oh, he's so lucky. Look at Joe. Beautiful woman, great broadcaster. She's got it all, and she's got to deal with these jackwagons. And the reason what opened my eyes was, as a father of 3 beautiful girls, I saw them deal with hate, too, as teens. And I'm like, they're not doing anything to you at all. Why do you hate them? You know what I mean? So just because somebody looks like Joe and does what Joe does doesn't mean she ain't going to get hate, too. It sucks. So... And you're not going to change them, and I think engaging with them gives them what they want. So anyways, Joe's a big girl, and yes, she did throw the first punch. That is a fact, but it's been kind of uncomfortable because any angst, any ill will really unsettles me, even for other people. Forget about myself, because I'm pretty good. I roll with it. But what do you think about Joe getting into it with these Oiler fans?
I can sit back here and as well as anybody, I never get into this stuff, right? And I rarely have an aggressive opinion, so I don't really get that sharp comments back my way. But I can sit back and enjoy somebody else in the ring, like a fan. Absolutely. And I give Jo a lot of credit because she jumped right in the ring and she's feeding him right back. So
Oh, yeah.
give her credit. She's not just sitting there and taking it. It is a lot of fun. And I hope that she's having fun with it and that it's all just fun and that nobody's really crossing the line, although there's some people that are close.
Well, they are, for sure. Patrolman Pete writes in and says, F the haters, and says, jack wagons, LOL. Show some respect to Jo, the people say. David in Winnipeg says, go Paul Maurice and the Panthers. So, yeah, people are fired up about Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final tonight. And before we move further, if you're watching on YouTube, give us a like. And we appreciate those tuning in on the radio, too, where we are Atlanta's NHL show on WQEE. Mentioned this morning. I don't know if you've seen it, but the Spit and Chicklets podcast, they were up in Edmonton, looked like they had a party up there. Ken Reid, who will join us later this hour, was on the Spit and Chicklets, I guess. I don't watch it. I watched or listened to one episode of Spit and Chicklets, and I do no biz. I like him. I just can't listen to it. It's too offensive for me. And if anybody wants to sit and talk about me, say I'm a hypocrite, you go ahead. It's just not for me anymore. But last night, they were in a bar in Fort Lauderdale, and R.A., I don't even know if I had his initials right because I don't watch the show enough to know who that is. But he's in the bar, and Clark was talking about it this morning. Producer Clark, he saw the clip. He's getting smacked on the butt by some gal. They're pounding drinks. They talked about Fort Lickerdale. This is part of why I had mentioned I've been getting a lot of pressure from my Florida friends. You need to be here. And from that clip, I'm like, no, I don't. Nobody will ever remember that I wasn't there for the Stanley Cup Final. And when the Panthers win it, which eventually I think that they will, that's not a road you want to go down, Darren. You and I both know that. What they're doing in Fort Lauderdale. It's what goes on, and I'm surprised. Listen, it's not like I didn't do that. I was spitting chicklets before there was spitting chicklets. So that's why I'm saying it's not for me anymore. What they're doing, seen it. Been there, done that. But, they seem to be making the most of it. But as a member of the South Florida recovery community, of which I have a ticket, it's good that I'm not there. I'm good. You know what I mean? What are you seeing what they're doing down there?
Oh, yeah, and they're having a blast. And you know what? I'm entertained by it. I think these guys are good. I think they're good for the game as long as they, they're flirting with the line sometimes, actually a lot of times, but as long as they keep it in the line. And it's all about staying in your lane. Everybody's got a lane, right? And think of being on the car. There's people that just stay in the right lane, and they're nervous, and they're right 6 inches from the steering wheel, and every time a car goes by. Then there's people like me who I go if I'm riding with you in the carpool lane, cruise control, drinking my coffee, minding my own business, listening to music. And then they're spitting chicklets. And they're in and out of every lane trying to be the fastest car on the road. So that's their lane. That's how they want to drive. That's how they want to do it. And you know what? They're entertaining, got a ton of fans, growing the game. But for you and I, it's not what we do.
No, they seem to be great guys and all the rest. It's again, just not for me, but it's the new age of media. It's the new age of media. We can't fault that or change that and what they're doing with their podcast. BW writes in from Edmonton, says it was a cleaner episode for Spit and Chicklets with Ken Reid, PG-13 rated. Okay, thank you, BW, for clearing that up. But again, I don't cast any dispersions on Ken Reid because he went on Spit and Chicklets. You do you. That's what we do over here. Listen to what you want to listen to. But I mean, last night I was watching a Panthers podcast. I'm not going to say which one because there aren't a lot, less than a handful of Panthers podcasts. And I'm like, guy, the host, I'm like, make your bed. Come on. I mean, you got your camera on you. You're doing it in your bedroom, but can you at least make your bed? But again, I'm going to have hair gel, as are you. We're going to do our thing, and they're going to do theirs. Just one more from Patrolman Pete. He says, I've never seen dupes worked up. It's the quiet guys you have to be worried about because once they finally explode, look out. I've never seen you explode. I've only seen you get snappy one time, and it was at Super Bowl in Los Angeles, and I don't think you even remember. It was a very small thing. Do you ever blow your stack, Moose?
Very, very, very rare. Just doesn't happen. I'm pretty good at having my outlets. What I will do is if you don't hear from me for a while, or looks like I shut down, that would be me doing that instead of blowing my top. So if I ever blow my top, that's like, what's the emergency alert system? We're on red. That would be that would be red. But me shutting down is like orange on the alert system.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so Moose, before we move on, Moose has Edmonton to win tonight, and I have Florida. By the way, folks, elevate your game at Golden Ticket Sports Center in Moose Jaw, where passion meets performance. GoldenTicketSportsCenter.com. Moving on to point 2, the visiting Boston Red Sox slugged 4 solo home runs in a 7-3 win over the Toronto Blue Jays Monday night. Tyler O'Neill of Burnaby, BC, took Toronto starter Yusei Kikuchi deep on 2 occasions. Justin Turner and Davis Schneider hit solo homers for the Jays. Nick Pivetta of Victoria, BC, threw 7 effective innings to post the win. Now, the Jays are what the Jays lost. It ain't breaking news anymore. But billed as MLB's main event this week, the Yankees are set to host the Orioles for 3 games starting tonight. The 2 clubs have opened up a big gap in the rest of the American League East. The 50-24 Yankees have the best record in baseball, while the 47-win Orioles are 3rd overall. So if you're tired of the Jays, which Moose isn't because he's going to Joe Carter night tonight, reception there with, if I dare say, the DraftKings people. I would be jealous, except for I'm real happy to be home watching the hockey. I can tell you that. Western Canadian Baseball League, just 1 game last night. Fort McMurray was a winner over the Edmonton Prospects, 10-5. We're going to be talking WCBL baseball coming up in hour 2. Bobby Biceps Picorni going to be joining me live right here at Golden Ticket. And point 3, the Boston Celtics won their record-breaking 18th NBA title Monday night with a 106-88 win over the visiting Dallas Mavericks to take the series in 5. Jason Tatum had 31 points and 11 assists for the Celtics, who broke a tie with the Lakers for the most titles. I get that that's a really big thing, and I'm not even really proud to say this or even bragging it, but I didn't watch a second of the NBA Finals. My focus is elsewhere, but I feel like you watched a little bit of it. Am I right in saying that?
It's a good assessment, a little bit. I didn't watch a lot, but I watched a little bit. Tuned in and then caught a good chunk of last night's game because it's important to me to watch. You know, I really get invested when a championship's on the line, but I watched a little bit. Yes.
Okay, well, listen, coming back next segment, we're going to talk a lot of CFL. Hour 1, segment 2 is going to be our CFL segment, I think, for the rest of the summer moving forward. The folks writing in, they want to talk about Joe Madden, and you probably saw that I went to a movie last night. So I'll give a bit of a review when we come back for Bad Boys Ride or Die. It was so much fun. But Greg Martin writes in from Calgary. He says, I think Joe Madden is awesome. He's watching on Game Plus TV, 902-518-3033. Brian in Hudson's Bay writes in and says, I follow Joe on X and Instagram. She is a rock star. I hope she doesn't let those jack wagons affect her. I got Panthers tonight, and if that happens, I won't be disappointed. Have a good one, boys. Thank you, Brian in Hudson's Bay. This is the thing about haters. People that need to hear this will hear it. Those that don't hear it won't hear it ever, so it don't matter. But if they're hating, they're jealous. And from what I've seen, it's like 100% of the time. They're jealous of you. So literally give them more of what they're hating on because it's hitting them right in the feels, and they don't like it. Tom Brady, Joe Madden, you name it. But don't kowtow to these losers or be lesser than because of them. We'll be right back here on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Live, and Spotify.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
The 80s Club, live in Moose Jaw. Honeymoon Suite, along with a flock of seagulls. Men without hats. And spoons. All together for one night at Moose Jaw Event Center, Saturday, November 16th. Tickets on sale now at sastix.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Morning, Bobby. The man, the legend is in the house. He's in the house. Hour two, you're coming up, right, Bobby? Yeah, in an hour, you get your workout in. Bobby Biceps is here, man. He's on the scene. Hey, we got some fun stuff to talk about that sort of encapsulates sports and but isn't necessarily the hardcore sports talk. I do want to remind you to sign up for Landmark Extras for free today at landmarkcinemas.com, and there are 3 programs to choose from. I did go to a movie last night. Let's bring the Moose in. It's funny, there's a lot of things going on. The Millers are showing up here to work out here, Darren. Everybody's dressed for winter because it's 12 degrees Celsius right now. It feels minus 12, and I know Bobby and I are soft because we're from Florida, but that's just the way that we are. But you are, it's hot. You got Florida temperatures where you are, you told me.
We do. It is awesome. We had a big thunderstorm this morning, and then, 20 minutes later, it's hot and sunny, going to be in the early, low 30s today. I like that Bobby's getting in a little pre-show workout, but I was going to cut you off. You're going to get to your movie review. No spoilers. No spoilers. I haven't seen it yet.
Hey, it's not about that. I won't spoil it. All I will tell you about Bad Boys Ride or Die, which I saw at Landmark Cinemas, is that it's everything that I love. Okay, it's Will Smith, Martin Lawrence. Oh, I came home and I was laughing so much at Martin Lawrence, which
He's so funny.
It wasn't even, he's, you nasty. Just the way.
Because he's a dad. He's old now, and it's funny.
He was, exactly. And he was talking to Will Smith, Mike Lowry, and he's like, in another life, Mike, you was a donkey, and I was your owner, and you was nasty. I'm in the theater by myself, yelling. But, hey, it was a nice taste of home, of South Florida. I knew all the views now and everything, and it was just funny. But here's my review. I'm sitting going, I got to stop ordering hot dogs. And you know why, Moose? Because you've been with me at so many of these movie theaters. They're like, yeah, we don't have any on right now. We just put them on. It's going to be like 30 minutes. We'll all come back. So I pay for it, get my receipt, and then I got to come back 30 minutes later to get my hot dog, get in line again. It's a real pain in the ass. And then they got to go take out the thermometer, stick it in the wiener, check it, and then make your hot dog. You're holding up the line. So I'm like, I'm not doing this again. I'm not ordering a hot dog again. But then I get into my seats, and I'm like,
you smell it. Yeah, exactly.
It's so good. And that's why I do it. So there's that. Number two, before we move on to a couple other things, and please bring in your comments, 902-518-3033, and on the streaming as well. Couple things. Yesterday was National Mascot Day, and to be honest, I didn't find out until after we were off the air. So that's on me, I guess. I wasn't aware. So I want to ask you and all of our audience, who are your favorite mascots? And they aren't, I like Stanley C. Panther and Victor E. Rat, the Panthers mascots, but they're not mine. Mine is a two-way tie, and it's my show, so I can do whatever I want if I want to have a tie. It's Gaynor the Gopher, the CFL's most beloved mascot of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and, of course, K9, who was the first mascot I ever loved of the Regina Pats. You know, with his sign, start the bus, K9. So, everybody, who is your favorite mascot? Mine are Gaynor the Gopher and K9, the Regina Pats' lovable dog that started out blue, and now he's red, and nobody really knew how that happened. Who's yours?
Yeah, it's kind of odd that it just changed. I haven't seen much on Gritty this past season at all, but, you know,
he's there. He's there.
He is pre-costume change Gopher, or a Gaynor, the Gopher, pre-costume change. And old school Gaynor. And the Chicago Bull. I don't know what his name is, but the Bull in Chicago. Because I always see the social media clips. He was kind of the first, doing cartwheels down the stairs, doing the cake in the face, spilling the popcorn, or the guy that's, you know, you've won a 55-inch TV, and he's carrying it down the stairs, and then he trips and falls and smashes the TV, you know? Hilarious stuff. So he's probably my favorite.
Oh, I mean, I love them all. There's none that I don't like. But my favorite are those two, and we could, that's the thing. I knew as a sports show, we could sit and talk about this forever. David, number one in Winnipeg, writes in, and he says, Mickey Moose and Buzz and Boomer. Those are the Winnipeg mascots of the Bombers and Jets. John in Edmonton says, Punter, that's the Elks mascot, and Hunter, the Oilers mascot, which is what? Is it not like a abominable snowman? I don't even know. Ryan in Saratoga, New York,
like a Freddy Krueger movie or something like that, man.
Yeah, it's something weird. The Oilers mascot is weird. I don't know why they wouldn't have a roughneck, which is what an oil worker is. Have that guy. But what the hell do I know? They don't ever ask me, and why would they? Ryan in upstate New York says, that sounds like getting a hot dog with a lot of extra steps, but it sounds like Rod enjoyed it. Oh, I very rarely regret getting a hot dog. I just hate holding up everybody else in line because they never have them ready, ever. You know, they just get rid of them. Just get rid of them. They're just a pain. Nachos are at least easy, you know. Okay, Jeff in Yorkton says, Hunter is a lynx. Okay. I'm sure there's a reason. I don't know what that might be. Why a lynx is the mascot of the Calgary or the Edmonton Oilers. But again, why is Harvey the Hound the Flames mascot? Why would you not have a mascot called Sparky? And he's like a furry flame. You know what I mean? Like, do I have to do the thinking for everybody? Or the Stamps is Ralph the dog, who Ralph and I got close in those 2 summers I spent in Calgary. Ralph and I were tight. But I mean, Charlie Horse, hello. Why wouldn't you? Whatever.
Can we? Do you have the photo of you driving around Saskatchewan wearing the Ricky head? Because that's what I think about. We have a
deleted it.
mascot, and Ricky should have been both of our favorite mascots. We totally dropped the ball.
Well, he's hibernating right now. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. We have a mascot named Ricky, and he's an iguana, and I have his head riding around in my vehicle. So, yeah, he's around, but I don't have the photo of me driving my vehicle, Darren. That would be illegal with the mascot head on. George writes in and says George Hamelick says his favorite is the Philly Fanatic. That's his favorite mascot. So everybody write in, please, with your favorite mascot. Not who you think is the best mascot, because I think that's a different conversation than who's your favorite. You know what I mean? Like Sandy, BW in Edmonton says the San Diego Chicken and the Chicago Bull carrying away the neglected girlfriend. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll push this into hour 2. I also want to talk about celebrities at games and if it influences you to want to go to games, because I thought it was really cool the other night at the Lions game. The TSN cameras caught Owen Wilson on the video, and who doesn't love Owen Wilson? I know I do. He's the spitting image of not my best friend, but a close friend of mine, Judd Lang, like they're twins. And Owen Wilson was there, and we all know that he was at a Canucks Oilers game in the playoffs too. I don't know, is Owen Wilson from Wedding Crashers fame and Hall Pass fame and all that? Is he filming a movie in Vancouver? Is he just there for the summer to get out of the Texas heat? Because I think him and his brother Luke are from Texas. Because it spawned the Pam Anderson was discovered at a BC Lions game. And, you know, when I see a celeb at these games, it kind of makes me want to go. I'll be honest, that's a pretty cool factor. Because it's in vogue from a lot of people to just crap all over the CFL. So for whatever they do, people want to crap on them. And that's a lot of their own fans. But I saw, the CFL tweeted the clip of Owen Wilson at the game the other night, and people are going, this is the Canadian inferiority factor, coming to the fore here, that they have to point out that Owen Wilson's at the game. Every league does that. You jackwagon. It makes me want to go. How about you?
Have you ever watched the Super Bowl? They show who's in attendance, all the celebrities that are in attendance. That's what you do. It does make me want to go. Not because I'm like, I might run into Owen Wilson, but subconsciously, whether it's Ryan Reynolds or even, when Ryan Reynolds, Snoop Dogg, and those, celebrities were looking at buying the Ottawa Senators. It does make it cool by association, We always say, when somebody phones up and says, hey, I got a party. There's a party happening right now, Friday night. Are you going to go? Well, who's there, right? That's kind of your first question. Who's there? Are there people there I want to be around, associated with, run into? Same thing with a football game. When you start seeing that influencers go to the games, people that you look up to, it gives you validation, and it makes it the cool thing to do and makes you want to go.
Yeah, listen, there ain't nothing I can say that's going to change the way people are with crapping all over the CFL, but I thought it was really cool that Owen Wilson was at that game. And actually, I got a new follower this morning, Andrew Fung. This is why it popped into my head. He was at the Calgary Surge game the other night, and I've gotten to be pretty good friends with the Surge owner, Jason Ribeiro, and he tweeted a photo of him and Andrew Fung. I wouldn't even know who Andrew Fung was, but Serena is a major fan of Kim's Convenience on Netflix. So I've watched all the shows, and that Andrew Fung is a funny guy, and he's from Calgary, so I gave him a follow. He's now following me. So getting influencers in sports together is something that these leagues were not built on, but it used to be a huge thing. And then it wasn't really. Jack Nicholson with the Lakers and Spike Lee with the Knicks and who's your team? Matthew McConaughey with the Texas Longhorns. Mandy in Edmonton writes in, she says, the RP show had a lizard, but they didn't tell us the inside joke about it, and I don't see the lizard around anymore. Mandy, you obviously walked away from your television because it's an iguana, and he's just hibernating in the moment, but he's actually outside in my vehicle. And I'll ask Darren in the break. She says the RP show. Patrolman Pete in Winnipeg says the RP show needs a mascot. No, we have one. It's Ricky the iguana. And I feel like we don't have time to get into all of that now, but we do have one. It's just he's just been in hibernation for a while, and we're getting him out. Jim in Balgonie writes in, and he says, Gainer is my favorite, not the new crackhead Gainer, and also Gritty of the Philadelphia Flyers, because the Rough Riders in their infinite wisdom changed up the Gainer look a couple years ago, and now he looks like a meth head. Freddie in Winnipeg writes in and he says, as a wee lad in Canada, it was Yuppie of the Expos for me. In the United States, it was the San Diego Chicken. And I think Yuppie is still around. Does anybody know? I think he's with the Phillies. Somebody adopted him because he was so great. The old Expos mascot. Yeah, the team died, but they were like, we can't let this guy go down. So I think the Phillies just took him.
Do you wish the
Nationals?
Nationals?
Him as a free agent or something. Maybe the Nationals. I think the Nationals turned everything from Montreal. They just, no, we're done. By the way, I said we were going to talk about week 3 in the CFL. We'll have to do that next hour. But there's some interesting games. They're all interesting. Thursday, Ottawa at Montreal. Friday, BC at Winnipeg. Saturday, Edmonton at Toronto. In a rematch of the 1996 Grey Cup. And Hamilton at Saskatchewan. Sunday, in a rematch of the 1989 Grey Cup and 2013 and 1972. So we have a lot to get to that we haven't yet, but I just knew we would have fun with the mascot talk and the celebrities at games discussion, and what we do here is have fun. So, Moose, I'll see you in hour 2, okay?
You bet. See you then.
Sportsnet's Ken Reid of Spittin' Chicklets fame joins us next. We are live on the Game Plus television network across Canada and 31 U.S. states. WQEE Radio down there in Atlanta, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Live, and Spotify.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Now the race is on and here comes pride in the backstretch.
Celebrate 40 years of Sawyer Brown.
Some girls don't like boys like me.
With Shenandoah.
You got to get me to the church on the Cumberland Road.
Plus special guest George Fox. Saturday, October 26th, Moose Jaw Event Center.
I'll take the dirt road.
Tickets are on sale now at the Moose Jaw Event Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
6 days on the road and I'm
Sawyer Brown and Shenandoah live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan in the house.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
We're having a blast, as always, here at the Golden Ticket Sports Center. And when we talk hockey, it's brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company out of Calgary, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. And on World National Mascot Day, we're asking, what's your favorite mascot? And we've gotten to the bottom. We've got clarification that UP, when the Montreal Expos left town, was adopted by the Canadiens. So that's a fact. He didn't have to leave town. He just had to cross town. All right, Ken Reid, let's bring him in. It's been far too long. He's enjoyed a renaissance in Western Canada at the Stanley Cup Final. Hello, Kenny boy. Listen, on Spit and Chicklets, it doesn't get much bigger than that, dude.
No, that was fun, Rod. It was fun. And yes, UP travaille pour les Canadiens de Montreal. Yeah, so yeah, UP was my favorite too. I remember meeting him in 1982 at my first big league game. That was a thrill. There you go.
He's something else. So you got your Western Canadian Baseball League hat. You got a lot of stuff going on, Ken. What's going on with you?
I got the old Canada baseball hat on. It was so nice to get back to Edmonton. I worked there for 3 years. Man, you talk about a change, the ice district. Wow. That's quite amazing down there. I was just excited to get to see Shania Twain, to be honest. And then that Oilers win was something else. So maybe they bring it back. I don't know. I honestly don't have a clue.
Well, we are of the same vintage. Shania fan here, too. I thought I was the only one infatuated with Shania. Turns out there's a few other that are infatuated with Shania. I can't even speak thinking about her.
No.
Downtown Edmonton, I will just tell me your thing, and then I'll get into my thing about the Ice District. Why were you there? Were you there working? How did this whole Spit and Chicklets thing come about?
So we were there working. We had our the old mobile truck that Ron used to use. They converted it just into the Sportsnet truck. So we set that up right at the Moss Pit. We were live at a Game 3, live at a Game 4 with postgame. It was awesome. We had Luke Gazdic on set with us. And yeah, I was out there, and I think it was Biz. I texted Paul, and he texted back, "You in town? You want to go on?" Colby's like, "You want to go on?" So yeah, I'll go on. So that was a blast talking hockey with those guys. And it was awesome. I truly enjoyed the Ice District. I love the fact that, here's what I said, Rod. I'm up top, and since I live in Toronto now, and I'm stuck in the studio most times, the only NHL exposure I really get is a Leafs game. So I'm sitting up top, and I'm watching, and I'm with Gaz. I go, can you imagine if the Leafs made the final? It wouldn't look like that. Because I said, no one down there is trying to look cool. No one has another agenda other than just to go to the Oilers game and cheer as loud as they can and be a maniac. Everyone's decked out in colors, in Oilers sweaters. It was awesome. Nobody was like, well, I wonder how cool I'm going to look when I go out after the game. They were there for one reason and one reason only. It reminded me of my child last night at the Blue Jays game. Screamed and yelled the whole time. There was people in front looking like, I'm like this. And I was down. He was there with his team. They were looking. And I thought, am I going to do something? Okay, I'm a pretty old school dad, right? If my kid is in the mall, if he's in public, he's going to behave. He's going to look you in the eye. He's going to shake hands. He's going to say, hello, my name is Lou. And he's going to be polite. But if he's at a sporting event, haywire, buddy, give her, do what you got to do. Be the fan that you want to be. And I love that at Edmonton, people were being the fans that they wanted to be. They were not there to impress anyone. There was no agenda. That's what I loved about the whole vibe of the Ice District. Everybody was there for the Oilers, not for, I better look cool if I'm going to some bar afterwards.
What's also cool about that is, I've been to Edmonton many times, road trips, visiting teams, stayed downtown. So now with the Panthers being my friends, they went in there as the enemy, and I said to them, don't wear your gear around, guys. I'm serious, because that might be a problem. And they were serious. I didn't want them to get hurt. I've seen it go down, and they're with my teams, and they said there was none of that. which is just hats off to Edmonton, but hats off to Edmonton. Man, they just come off looking so great in this whole thing.
They do, and I love that. See, the way I get it is you're both hockey fans, so why would you fight, right? You're not on the ice. Look, the football thing, I wouldn't wear any other team sweater to a Chicago game or a Green Bay game or a Raiders game, especially the Raiders back in the day. The Giants and Dodgers have had their issues. But we should all be united by the sport we love. Tip your cap to those who win. I sat beside a buddy last night. He's a Red Sox fan. So what? At least you're loving the same sport. But yeah, Edmonton came off total Ron Burgundy, total class.
Yeah, and Bob, it's hilarious that you said you've been in the studio pretty much your whole life, and now you want to get out of it. I've been on the front lines my whole life. Now I want to be in the studio. Everybody's like, you should be here. You should be here. I'm like, I'm good. Yeah. I don't want to be there. And the craziness, it's just the reverse. So it's pretty clear you're cheering for the Oilers in this, huh? Is that a Canadian thing or a deep-seated Montreal thing or a fan thing or what?
Oh, Rod, you know me. As a strong, objective journalist, I have no sides in this quarrel. Come on, Rod, let's face it. Come on. Look, it's a lot more fun from a Canadian perspective when the Oilers win. I think people can figure it out. I said when we showed Shania a high five and everybody after the game, and I said, when I was a kid, I loved the Montreal Canadiens, but I was smart enough to know that I was seeing something pretty special with the Edmonton Oilers. But growing up back east, the Oiler playoff game didn't come on until around 10 o'clock. So what my dad used to do, the trick was, all right, Kenny, if you want to watch the whole Oilers game tonight, you can sleep from 6 to 10, and then at 10, you can come down and watch the game from 10 to 1 with me. So I'd go up to my room. No, I didn't sleep. I'd toss and turn. But I was infatuated by the Oilers. And when Shania was high-fiving the guys the other day, I said, man, when I was a kid, I wanted to play for the Edmonton Oilers. And now I really, really want to play for them. They got to meet Shania. That's pretty cool.
That's incredibly cool. I mean, mine is George Strait. He's my guy, but I wouldn't say no to meeting Shania either. But I also want to say this. I mean, the Floridians don't know, unless they've been to Canada, the hockey fans in Florida think of it as this Narnia. I've said it before, which it is. Outdoor rinks and packed NHL arena. It's amazing. But what have you learned about Panthers fans in these playoffs, Ken, from the coverage that you've seen and so forth that you didn't know before?
I think passionate, just not in numbers, right? It's not going to, I think what's unique about Edmonton, not just compared to Panthers fans, but even compared to the city of Toronto, and I was telling this to Ivanka when we were there. When you go to Edmonton, everyone is invested in the Oilers. If you're here in Toronto and the Leafs are going on a run, can't really speak to that, but still, if the Leafs were going on a run, I think there'd be hundreds of thousands of people who'd be like, oh, that's nice. But in Edmonton, everyone is into it. So I think fans in Florida are clearly passionate. I think they're just not as huge in numbers. There's no history there to grab onto, save for that couple runs. But Edmonton has that great history. They were lucky to get that great history right out of the get-go, right? Right in there, when they pretty much, 5 years after they got to the NHL, they won a cup. They got Wayne skating around. Now you have Connor skating around. But I think that the difference between Edmonton and honestly most markets in the NHL is that everyone in the city is on board. It's not a quarter of a population or half or three quarters. It's pretty much 100%, and that's what I love about the Oilers vibe.
And they've acquitted themselves, as we've talked about, very well as a hockey market, and that's why I said I would be happy for both. But I do live in Florida now, and I think a Stanley Cup would change the hockey in Florida. It will forever. If it happens. Okay, you got a book, Ken, or something? What do you got going on that you're promoting? Spittin' Chicklets are behind you. What are we selling today, buddy?
Hey, listen to this. This is breaking news, okay? I just got this email for my latest book. Yeah, buddy. My latest book, Ken Reid's Hometown Hockey Heroes, if you bear with me and I go through and find this email. This is huge. It's the Kobo Canada weekend sale, June 28th to July 2nd. Kobo, one of Canada's largest retailer platforms, has my book on Ken Reid's Hometown Hockey Heroes for $13.99. So there you go. That's breaking news, Rod. You're the first to find out. I got that email this morning from my publisher. So go on to
do you need
Kobo. Your glasses.
Do you need my reading
glasses?
What?
I did. Instagram at Kobo Books. I did need readers. I used readers until I got LASIK, and that made me okay. And they said they weren't sure if it would work.
How about that?
No, I don't need my readers anymore. But don't you feel kind of sophisticated when you can put them on? Feel a little smarter than everybody else?
People say I look like a general manager. I don't know. I don't know.
You look
I
smart,
don't
man.
care how I look.
Smart. Yeah? Well,
All right, Kitty.
I clearly don't either.
Keep up the good work, my man. Thanks for coming on. Congrats on all the success.
Thank you, Rod. Congrats to the success you're having on your show. It's incredible what you've done. You know, I'm a fan, and keep getting pucks in deep, buddy.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Thank you. Huge part of it right there. Sportsnet's Ken Reid and a wonderful team is what it takes here from IKS and the RP Show. We'll be right back on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Live, and Spotify.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. It's hour 2. We're coming at you here on Game Plus Television, as always, and on the radio, WQEE down there in Atlanta, because for some reason, they really like this show down there. I don't know why. We are the only NHL show, I can tell you that, on the radio in Atlanta. Maybe that's it. And they like the CFL, too. Did we get Moose's camera ready to go? Are we rocking? Are we ready to... Yeah, we got him. Okay. This hour 2, but also what I like to call story time. And Moose, I hope you are enjoying yourself there in Toronto. Are you going to be outside? Well, you're going to the Blue Jays game tonight. Is it kind of a roof open type night at Rogers Centre, that kind of day for summer baseball? Because it's chilly as hell out here in Western Canada, I'll tell you that.
That's a gorgeous day. I'll be outside. I'll go down there early, spend some time around the ballpark. It's a good day to be outside here.
Okay, we're rolling through into hour 2. I just want to update all of those who may have just put on the podcast. Maybe you just turned on your television here on Game Plus or radio. On Key Radio, we talked about Stanley Cup Final Game 5 tonight. Oilers at Panthers. And who wins? That's the poll question today. Darren's got the Oilers. I've got the Panthers. And in a moment, I'm going to get into a little further explanation as to why I'm cheering for the Florida Panthers to win not only tonight, but win this series. Blue Jays got pumped last night, 7-3 by the Red Sox. They're at it again tonight. WCBL baseball. There was only one game last night. Fort McMurray beat Edmonton 10-5. There's 4 games tonight, and Bobby Picorni of the Moose Jaw Miller Express will be joining us live here at Golden Ticket later on this hour. We talked about the Boston Celtics winning the NBA championship, their 18th title. That's the most in league history, one more than the Lakers. CFL Week 3 kicks off Thursday night with Ottawa at Montreal. I promise we will talk about the games more here or at all this hour because we haven't yet, and other things. Now, we also talked about on World National Mascot Day, who's your favorite mascot? And I apologize. I've had so many mascots come in. I said, I can't remember yours. Mine, I said it's a tie between Gainer the Gopher and K9, the Regina Pats mascot, who, again, was blue when I first met him in 1979. He was like a light baby blue, and somehow he just magically turned red. And we never found out why that was. And nobody even questioned it either.
They weren't sorting the colors, Rod, when they put them in the wash, in the laundry. Somebody had a red T-shirt in the laundry.
Who's yours? I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Old Gainer, like the original Gainer, like, late 90s, and the Chicago Bull, probably my favorite.
Right. Chad is watching in Lethbridge, Alberta. He writes in and he says, favorite mascots, Gainer the Gopher, Youppi for the Canadians, and the Philly Fanatic for the Phillies. Looking forward to the Moose Jaw Miller Express making the trip to Southern Alberta. And that's the thing. Today we debut the Western Canadian Baseball League report, and Bobby Picorni of the Miller Express is going to be on because these leagues have come to us. And they tell me, Rod, you're the only one that mentions us. So, yeah, I'm not doing it other than I like the leagues, right? But it's great to fill these ballparks. It's cheap, affordable entertainment to take your family because it is important, I think, to get out to the ballpark, the hockey arena, the football stadium, and not have to pay $1,000 to $6,300 for a ticket like what's going on tonight in Florida. Like, it's a little different they could win a Stanley Cup here tonight. So this is a wonderful segue into why I'm cheering for Florida, because we own a home there now. I talked about that. That's going to be my future. That's my home, South Florida. So we're trying to get guys and gals into the game that can't afford a lower bowl ticket for $6,000. The nosebleeds are $1,000. So that's another reason why I want them to win tonight, because I couldn't imagine you shelling out your month's rent or mortgage payment to watch a hockey game and then have your team lose. How much would that suck? So we brought up last hour celebrities at games. The BC Lions had Owen Wilson at the game the other night, and the TSN cameras caught him. One half of Wedding Crashers and 1/3 of... no, he wasn't in Old School, was he? He was his brother Luke. But I still love him. And does it make you want to go to games? So I was in an elevator with Paulina Gretzky probably 2 seasons ago in Florida. And you know me now, Darren. I'm still that farm kid. I'm from the country. And that ain't ever going to change. So I'm in an elevator with Paulina Gretzky at the time called Florida FLA Live Arena. I was minding my own business. I look over and I'm like, yeah, that girl looks like Paulina Gretzky. And I'm like, oh, wait. I'm not in the Brand Center. I'm in an elevator in Sunrise, Florida. That is Paulina Gretzky. And I was just telling a friend of mine that the other day, My Dale Mike. He goes, what a shock you'd find a Gretzky in a hockey rink. And that's the thing. She ain't going to be seen. She's Paulina Gretzky. She's going to watch the hockey. You know what I mean? Like, she's there as a fan, not for the photo ops and everything, which furthermore, I'm like, I wonder if that really is Paulina Gretzky, because the photos and stuff, it's different than in person. Elevator stops, bing, doors open, her and her 4 friends get off, and who's waiting there? The head of security for the Florida Panthers, who's not there anymore, but his name was Sean O'Connor. And by the way, I've gotten to know Sean over the years, the head of security for the Panthers, and I was like, here's me with Sean O'Connor. Hi, Sean. Big guy. Now, he's
like 7 feet tall?
He's a big man, and he was squiring Paulina Gretzky and her friends around the arena. The reason I named him, I won't name the new head of security for the Panthers, but the new head of security came up and introduced himself to me this season. I'm like, where's Sean? He's like, he had to go back to New York and work for Mr. Viola. Like, he's more the owner of the Panthers head of security than he is the Panthers. You know what I mean? So it's a dream job for cops to get those security jobs, retired cops, because they're trained, they know people, and all the rest. So anyway, I know all those guys. You see what I'm saying here? So the Panthers, and I don't know what your take is on this. I assume maybe you're cheering for the Oilers to win. And if they win, I'd be fine with it. It would be the biggest story since the 1942 Leafs. But when you know the people, like I do with the Florida Panthers, you want them to win, because I'm interested to see where this goes if and when the Florida Panthers win the Stanley Cup. Because it's made Tampa Bay a legitimate hockey market, Darren. Nobody laughs at Tampa Bay. They've won 3 Stanley Cups, but for whatever, nobody ever laughs at Tampa. Yet with the Panthers, they are just looked upon as little brother, and they're sick of it. Okay, so I'm interested to see how this would change. But that's just me. Why are you cheering for who you're cheering for in the Stanley Cup Final?
Yeah, and it will be interesting to see what happens to Florida. I think I look at like the LA market, right, in Southern California, and there's a lot of credibility around the LA Kings for some obvious reasons, and the Anaheim Ducks. They've won championships, but the little brother in all that is the San Jose Sharks, because they still haven't won yet. It doesn't feel like they're on the same level. They're a tier behind, and for the Florida Panthers, this would absolutely legitimize them, put them up on that same tier as the Tampa Bay Lightning, winning a championship, and that being legitimate. But, I'm still stuck on cheering for Canada. That's where I am. I think that's where I pull. But I have a lot of pull inside me both ways. Like, I'm really torn in this series because there's a lot of likable factors for me with Florida. Fact that you're there, Paul Maurice, Aaron Ekblad. There's a lot of great pieces. And then the Connor McDavid and the Canada factor for Edmonton. I think that's what has me leaning probably more so to the Oilers than the Panthers.
Well, as I said, you get this deep in the playoffs and a championship final. Both teams deserve to win. Both franchises have gone through a lot to get there. It's just a hell of a story. I do see, though, a lot of Canada checking out on this series, and I understand it. In Calgary, are you aware in Calgary there is a Stanley Cup final going on? Because all the media is talking about a mock draft for round one and what are the, Craig Conway, the GM, meeting the media today saying Jacob Markstrom has not asked for a trade. It's like, I get it, though. Their team's not in it. They need to stay relevant, but, like, literally nobody cares. And in Winnipeg, people are asking us what we think about the Jets, what's going to be their lines in training camp. I'm like, bro, no. But they don't care about the Oilers and the Panthers. I also understand that. Just back on point with the mascots. People have written in here about Crazy George. And again, you talk to Cameron Hughes, the king of cheer. Crazy George is regarded amongst the mascots as like the OG of mascots. He's the guy, right? So for whatever reason, Crazy George is the guy. Oh, look who's shown up here, Darren. John, he says he just got here. He slept in. That's a hell of sleeping in, bro. That's 12:10 Central. Good for you.
How about
Good
that?
for you.
Bob's your uncle.
We're going to get to those CFL games in a second. I feel like we've talked ad nauseum here about Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final tonight. Darren wants to see it go back to Edmonton for Friday. Both teams have been dealing with the media this morning. They had their morning skates. They're dealing with the media today. I'm not following that much. It's been a long road just for me as a fan following it. I can't imagine what it's been like for the players. I don't care what you're saying. That's just me. It's now 11:11 Eastern and 11:11 Mountain. Just pointing that out. Just go play the game. I'm tired of reading the news. I'm tired of Chris Knobloch saying this. I'm tired of Matthew Tkachuk saying that. Just go out and settle it on the ice. We'll all be watching tonight, except for Moose, who's going to the Red Sox at Blue Jays tonight in Joe Carter party. On the mascot thing for a second, Mandy writes in, I think it's a very prudent question from Mandy in Edmonton. She says, has anyone here had a bad experience with a mascot? I did. McDonald's Hamburglar actually took my burger. And Rogers Video mascot took my cap on a bad hair day.
No.
Listen, I feel like we're not the ones that we should be talking to about bad incidents with mascots. Go talk to the mascots because they got the stories, man. And not just Cameron Hughes, who doesn't wear a mask and stuff. Cameron's the guy that rips his shirt off and dances, and he does his thing. But you know how many mascots have been punched in the nuts, kicked in the nuts, because everybody thinks it's funny? And let's be honest, it kind of is.
It is.
But imagine being them, right? But imagine, you got to wear a can. That's the one thing mascots have told me, is they get physically assaulted. And would any of us think about that without them telling it? You probably really wouldn't think about that. But people are idiots. So that would be a hell of a book too, wouldn't it?
Well, and your eyes are in the mouth, but you pull a little string and the mascot's eyes cross and he gets one right in the berries. It is funny, but you're right. They've gone through some stuff. You know, a mascot gets pushed over just on your back, and then you can't get up. Your head gets spun around. You can't see. You don't know where you're going. Yeah, it'd be, and then it's hot, and you're sweating. Being a mascot's not just a ride in a luxury automobile. It's not a walk in the park.
No.
There's some work there.
Not at all. Monty in Saskatoon writes in and he says, mascots can't talk, Rod. Well, they talk to me. And the thing is, everybody talks to me. That's how I know stuff. Okay, I'm looking at the comments. I'm not sure whether I want to. I'm just going to read it, not pass judgment. How about that? Okay. Well, Mandy in Edmonton writes in. She says, Gainer the Gopher grabs the BC Lions mascot's crotch like Donald Trump. It wasn't the BC Lion. It was the stuffed lion. And you were the one that made a big deal about that, right, Mandy? I believe you were the one. Yeah, I've made, if you notice, a distinct decision to not talk about politics, and I don't. On this show, I don't. And I don't on my commentaries. I don't on social media. And also religion. I believe in God. I'm a believer. I've seen him at work in my life, but I don't sit here and push it because I know it upsets people. And we don't want to upset people on this show. Right? And you didn't even have to tell me that, Darren. A blockhead like me figured it out on my own. So, yeah, I'm not going to... I just read it. We're not going to go any further than that. I feel like let's take a break and let's delve headfirst into Week 3 in the CFL when we come back. We'll just talk about the games. We're not going to make our picks yet and that kind of thing. And we got Bobby Picorni coming up, Bobby Biceps, and whatever everybody else would like to talk about. I know I opened a can of worms here today, and that's what I do. Just leave it to me. 902-518-3033. Who is your favorite mascot? Do celebrities at games make you want to go to games? And what brushes have you had with celebrities at games? I think that's a fun topic too. Oh, and we got more comments coming in. Oh, yeah. There's going to be good, Moose. We'll be right back here on Game Plus Television, Key Radio, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Live, and Spotify.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The 80s Club, live in Moose Jaw. Honeymoon Suite, along with a flock of seagulls. Men without hats. And spoons. All together for one night at Moose Jaw Event Center, Saturday, November 16th. Tickets on sale now at sastix.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop staffed by PGA of Canada professionals is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
Welcome back, everybody, to the beautiful Golden Ticket Sports Center in Moose Jaw. Hey, the Saskatchewan Rattlers pro basketball team plays at a SaskTel Center, offering the best entertainment for all of Saskatchewan sports fans. Their season has started with leadership from their NBA experienced head coach, Larry Abney, and they plan to be back at championship weekend in August. They are home Thursday night on Indigenous Night. Hope to see you there June 20th. That's Thursday. Get your tickets now by visiting Ticketmaster or head on down to the Rattlers front office in downtown Saskatoon. Okay, let's bring the Moose in. Oh, this is all on me. My mind, for whatever reason, just went blank. And when that happens, it's a good time to go into the comments, right? Just to scrub everything. I will say this, because it's loud in here and the guys can't hear me. Bobby Picorni's coming up next. Bobby Biceps from the Moose Jaw Miller Express. And I was saying earlier about the haters and everything, Darren. And what I love about Bobby is he's the best player on the Millers. And he's a good-looking guy. He's from Margate, Florida, which, if you want to know, you didn't ask, but I'm going to tell you. There's Sunrise and there's Boca Raton. I live in Boca Raton. Sunrise is where the Panthers play. Margate's in between. Okay, so that's where Bobby's from. And it's just, when he walks in here every day, he's like the leader. He's about 5 feet in front of all the players, and he literally bounces. He's just got that vibration, that vibe. I love him. And I look at Joe Madden, and I met her in Calgary last summer. I look at what she's going through. I don't know if Bobby's got hate, but anybody that's successful does. And it's like, I just realized, don't let the world dim your spark or your shine. You know, and that's the thing with me. Allie in Texarkana was writing in here yesterday saying, I'm loving seeing Rod live his best life. And it's like, yeah, well, I've been through the damn gutter, man, and I'm not going to stay there. So I want to bounce and have that shine too. And that's why I love the kid so much, because he didn't even know yet what he's in for in life. So any thoughts on that before I jump into the sports talk?
That's good. The only question I had is, Bobby Biceps your nickname for him, or was that
no,
been there for a while?
No. When I first started doing my prep for being the voice of the Moose Jaw Millers this year, I was reading a preview, and they said, returning this year from Margate, Florida, the popular Bobby Biceps, blah, 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 blah. So it was all on the team website. Yeah. Okay, so here's the sports schedule for tonight. Edmonton Oilers at Florida Panthers Game 5. My gosh, I feel like we've beaten it to death and didn't even really talk about it. But I've got the Panthers to win. I explained why. Darren has the Oilers to win. He explained why and why he wants that to happen. Now let's sit down and watch. Major League Baseball tonight, full slate, but it's the Red Sox at Toronto as far as what we care about. And the Moose will be there as part of a Joe Carter Association thingamabob. I'm expecting photos and full stories tomorrow, Moose. And we'll get into the WCBL games tomorrow. Or the tomorrow games we'll get into next segment, and there are no games in the CEBL tonight. So, Noni writes in from Calgary, and she says, Darren, I'm so jealous of you going to the Joe Carter event tonight at the Jays game. I would be shaking with excitement if I met him in person. My all-time favorite Blue Jays player. Have fun and say hi to Joe for me. Will you do that from Noni in Calgary, please?
You bet. I'd be happy to do that.
Okay. Vintage Sasko writes in and says on the 902 line, solid show. Unfortunately, I got a beef with K9 from the Pats. The bugger overpowered a friendly punch at a Pats game and gave me a dead arm. I've been bitter for decades since. Well, the interesting thing that shocked the heck out of us, and the longtime fans and viewers of this show will, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but the guy in the mascot uniform, K9, was like 75 years old. Rolly Barassa. I remember in the 80s. He was old in the 80s. And I remember one time, we saw him take his mask off behind a pillar in the Agrodome, and he was having a dart, and we were like, white hair. We're like, what? So Rolly told me a lot of those stories of him getting punched in the nards, and how much is a mascot supposed to take?
Not getting paid enough.
That's a whole other show. Yeah, that's a whole other show of them. Mascots revenge. But I did see on Twitter where it said, celebrating World National Mascot Day. Did you see the video? It was a Raiders-Titans game in the NFL, and the mascot walked up to a cheerleader for the Titans and just swallowed her, put the mouth of the right over her, like swallowed her. I'm like, that is a hell of a trick. I have a fascination with mascots, just so you know. That's why we're spending as much time on them. In Swift Current one night, I stole the horse's head and ran down the hallway into the Pats dressing room in my suit. And our head coach was like, what are you doing? I'm like, being me. And one night in Winnipeg at a bar called Area 51, Buzz and Boomer were there, and I tried to break into the hockey bag that was holding their gear, and I was going to put on the head and run in, but they tackled me and what? Yeah. So that all happened. Colin in Ottawa writes, that's not a road you want to go down, Rod.
Yeah.
You and I both know that. I've been down the road. It leads to nowhere. That's the thing. I'm telling you, the Spit and Chiclet guys were out on the bar scene in Fort Lauderdale last night, and I am a member of the South Florida Recovery Community. They refer to it as Fort Liquordale. And not like I was ever in danger of going back, but I just know I don't need to be around. Because we know where that road leads, Darren. It leads to nowhere. You and I both know that. It never gets old. Joe and I say, it never gets old. And by the way, it's a line from Lee Genier, the president of the Saskatchewan Rattlers. Not a bad thing. Okay, I said the CFL games. Let's do it. Thanks for everybody for hanging on. Because it's summer in Canada. And listen, when the hockey season ends, whether it's tonight or Friday or whenever, if it goes to a Game 7, that will be it. And we'll be left with baseball and the CFL in Canada. And that's all. Not that that's a bad thing, but that's what there will be. Which of these games for you, just for fun, would be Canada's game of the week, Moose? Thursday's Ottawa at Montreal, Friday's BC at Winnipeg, Saturday's Edmonton at Toronto, or Sunday's Hamilton at Saskatchewan? What do you think?
For me, it's BC and Winnipeg, one, because I believe that, I feel for those Winnipeg fans. I know you're not worried about them. You said that yesterday, and I'm not either. But it's like you're 0-2 now, and you really need just a slump buster. Well, the BC Lions are not a slump buster. That's just another really tough task. And there's a real threat that Winnipeg could be 0-3 coming out of this week. So that's a big threat. A lot of intrigue there.
Yep.
And you know what my dark horse game of the week is? It's Ottawa-Montreal. I thought Ottawa looked really good, and I thought Drew Brown looked really good. Look, his stat line isn't going to light you on fire, but it was raining and it was storming. Early in that game when the weather was still pretty good, he was like dynamite throwing the football. And now you're going to play Montreal, the defending Grey Cup champions, who have gotten off to a good start as well. This could really be Ottawa's litmus test to say, hey, can you compete in the East Division? And if you beat Montreal, you're going to put the entire division and maybe even the CFL on notice. So I'm really curious about those two games this week.
Yeah, well, the fans I don't think except for the real studious ones, don't really go back and look back at the seasons like the personnel people do and how the seasons broke down. Like the early wins, you do want to put them in the bank as soon as possible. And Ottawa is Exhibit A of that. They are playing the very best team in the CFL right now, the Alouettes, who from what I think The Alouettes either just got their rings or the fans are going to get rings or something. It's going to be hard for Ottawa going into Montreal, and I don't think that they will win. But who knows? I didn't think they'd beat Winnipeg last week, like you say. Here's another one. Jeff in Yorkton, if I may impart anything, Jeff in Yorkton writes in and says, in terms of entertainment, I love Trevor Harris's comment at the end of the Hamilton game. Last 2 minutes of excitement, NFL, that would have been over. And Trevor Harris can say anything, and I will not criticize him because I love Trevor Harris, and he looks so good. I'll reiterate that hockey is my DNA sport. I don't need any help with analyzing that, but I never played football. I broadcasted it for 20 years in the Canadian Football League, but I've never been on that gridiron playing it. So I defer to my coaches, friends, and they all talk about how great Trevor Harris is. I'm not an idiot. I can see how polished he is. I was at the practice every day and called all those games. Trevor Harris is as good a quarterback as there is in the CFL. He's taken teams to Grey Cups. Point about all that is he's right. But you can set your watch on a few things, and there is fans saying on social media that how much better the CFL is than the NFL. And I'm like, it's June and I'm tired of this already. Why do we have to have this? Are we ever not going to have this, Darren? We're better than your league. This baby, why? Do you have an explanation as to why?
Not anymore. No, I don't. It's human nature. You want to, you hear it all the time. Somewhere those fans would have been told that the NFL is better. So now they want to get loud and talk about their league being better. They're proud. I don't blame them. They're very proud of their league, and they want the rest of the world to know it and be proud. But you know what? You're not, as we've said a million times, and you talk about this in some of the things you mentioned, you're not going to change people's mind. So,
No.
If you love the league, go to the games, go to places where other people love the league, and stay out of places where people don't love the league, and you'll be a lot happier.
It is an interesting dichotomy. It's in my 10 things column. The attendance is way up in BC, down in markets like Calgary, Edmonton, maybe Sask. We'll see on Sunday. Not Winnipeg. They're doing fine. And the narrative seems to be in Toronto that the crowds are decent. They've only had one home game, but it looked pretty good on TV. So crowds up in BC and Toronto and Montreal, down on the prairies. Said no one ever. Ever.
It's a new era.
Yeah, what happened? Which also reminds me of something, and we will have Bobby Picorni coming up in the next segment. This just dawned on me. I put it in my column again that when I see a dumb comment on social media, I put my phone down. And my social media consumption's gone down by like 90%. Somebody wrote in here yesterday saying, what do the Riders need to do to fix it? So fix their game so that they can win by more points. They're 2-0 and on top of the division, Darren. They've never before opened a season in 114 years of Rough Rider football have they ever gone on the road for 2-1. I find that hard to believe, but if Van Stone says it, it's true. Have you ever seen a coach, whether it be on a football life or any sports that you've played, come into the room after a win and said, guys or gals, great win, but we didn't win by enough. So go run the stairs. Said no coach ever. Shut up with that.
I know. They'll look at, there are wins. I need a disclaimer on this, but there are wins that feel like losses. I can get behind that. I really can. There are wins that feel like losses. You didn't play well. You got, fortunate. You feel fortunate to win, but you're never upset with a win. Like a win is in the bank as a win in the win column. Yes, you need to improve on things, and there's mistakes, and the Riders don't want to play from behind in the fourth quarter. I get that. But you're winning football games. This is the process. Nobody came out and said the Saskatchewan Roughriders were favorites to win the Grey Cup. This is the process, playing from behind and dealing with adversity You should be very happy that you're winning football games and learning this. Eventually, if you continue this trajectory, you will be leading games in the fourth quarter, but not yet, and be happy that you're where you are. The rest of the division would love to have those 2 wins.
It's so hard to win. Period. So I've never seen a coach, privately or publicly, and I've traveled millions of miles on airplanes and buses with coaches that say one thing to the media and another to their team and another maybe to their wife. But I've been with them in the private moments, and I've never seen them, because trust me, they've leaned over on the seat and said things that will never see the light of day, but I've never heard them say, man, I'm glad we won, but we should have beat them by more. I've never heard that one time, because they don't talk like that. Okay, Moose, you're done. We'll let you go.
Okay, have a good one.
All right, I got it off my chest. We're good. Now it's fun time when Bobby Biceps joins us next from the Moose Jaw Miller Express and the first of our WCBL updates and chats. We're live from the Golden Ticket Sports Center here on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
That's right. We are back, everybody, live from the Golden Ticket Sports Center here in beautiful Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. And we got him. We've been talking about him for ages. My favorite Moose Jaw Miller Express player, Bobby Biceps Picorni, joins us all the way from Margate, Florida. How you doing, Bobby?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on.
Welcome to the show, man. Listen, I sorry to come across as a bit of a stalker, but you've made it so much fun for me. All you guys are. I'm having the best time here my first summer in the Western Canadian Baseball League, calling games for the Moose Jaw Miller Express. It's an off day for you guys. But what do you guys get up to on an off day here, by the way?
Early into the gym. You know, the gym opens early, and we'll get in here right away. Get some swings in. And some guys will get down to the field, but that's basically on how you're feeling since we play a lot of games here.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I thought you might get some rest, but you're off yesterday. Do you guys ever rest?
Rest
right when you're dead. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Bobby Picorni from Margate, Florida, which is the neighboring community from where I'm from, Boca Raton, Florida. And Sunrise is close, and we're going to get to that in a second. But you got to show, you see the thing at... Tell him Bobby flex for me if you don't mind. This is why they call him it, everybody. Yeah, right there. There you go. Bobby Biceps. He came on my radar when I was reading the preview for the season for the Millers, and they said coming back this year for his second season is Bobby Picorni. And so what is the road for you to get to the WCBL? And also for those that don't really know, what did you know about this league coming in?
So I knew little to nothing about the league because being from South Florida, this is quite a ways away. And so when I got here, I was ready. I don't know what I was expecting. I didn't know how the baseball was going to be. I didn't really know much. But I got here, and then I realized that this is real baseball.
It's legit, yeah.
Oh, yeah, this is real baseball. And you can't just find yourself here. You have to be sought after. They have to want you to be on this team.
Right, and so then to be brought back as a vet, and you're a senior at Keystone College, right? Meant a lot. So you had a good season last year, and it looks like you're off to a pretty good start this year, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so talk about the Miller season. You're around 500. Regina's won 6 in a row. That's really my hometown. I live in Boca now, but you get a lot of season left, right? What have you guys learned about yourselves so far?
We learned that it seems like we have every tool we could need, but we're not meshing as well together. So like some days, say the pitching will be on and the hitting's off, and then the hitting's on, the pitching's off, which is an easy fix, but that just takes time. It's a summer ball team. You guys got to mesh together. You guys all have to know how to play with each other.
Mm-hmm. And again, you don't have a lot of days off. You play almost every day. You've been around the game. You're a senior at Keystone College, as I said. What will it take to mesh? Is it something that can be, does it happen organically or naturally, or is it team building things that go on in here, or how do you do it?
It could be anything from a big inning that sparked against us and we didn't like it together as a whole, or even a 45-minute bus trip to Regina where a funny joke gets along and everybody's on board with it. It could happen at any moment. It's magical.
Yeah, exactly. See, the guy's got it, man. David in Winnipeg writes, and he says, hide your ladies. The ladies love him. The men want to be like him. Bobby Biceps Picorni. So before we get back to the baseball, tell me a little bit about yourself, because I said Margate's right next to Sunrise. I asked if you're a Panthers fan, because you know they're going to win the Stanley Cup tonight. You knew that, right?
Oh, I know, of course.
So tell me your Panthers story. It's a good one.
So being from South Florida, I never grew up watching hockey. I didn't really know much about hockey. But in high school, I got the opportunity to work parking for the BB&T Center, which is where the Florida Panthers play. So that was a really cool experience. I got to see the stadium, or the ice rink.
Yep.
And get to eat at the concession stand, watch some games. It was a lot of fun.
It's a dream, yeah.
A lot of fun. I loved it. Every second
So
of it.
you park cars, then you had to stay for the game, and then go back out afterwards?
Yep. Make sure everyone gets out in a file line.
Yeah, so it's a confusing lot.
Yep.
So tell the people, were people nice to deal with? I mean, that's the one thing about Floridians that I love. It's so zen. Everybody's in a good mood down there, right? Everybody gets along. But parking can be a different thing. What's the secret to being a successful parking attendant anywhere, let alone what's now American Bank Arena?
Well, thankfully, I don't work for BB&T anymore, so I think I could say it. Up there, $20 is some handicap parking if you need it.
Right.
So
Pay for, right.
$20 for some handicap parking, and that gets them every time.
That makes them happy.
Every time.
Yeah, because they, I've seen some angry people getting out of that parking lot. But back then, they weren't very good, the Panthers, right?
Nope.
Now they're selling the place out. 19.5 a game. That's pretty amazing. So will you be watching Game 5 tonight?
Oh, yes, for sure.
Yeah, good. And obviously cheering for them. So talk back to the baseball and the WCBL. What have you thought of Canada?
I enjoy it here a lot. It's quite a change of scenery for me. I enjoy like the flat when you're on the highway going to your next game. And you just look out, and it's a great thing to clear your mind, especially being in baseball where it's a very mental sport. It's just a great thing to be able to get on the bus and look out and just have your mind run.
At sea forever. Well, that's the thing for us. We were raised with it. So it's totally the opposite for me. So now I'm down in Florida, and I like that, but it's too hot.
I could agree.
Ridiculous. Was that just a secondary benefit to come up to Canada? Because the climate's so awesome in the summer. It was like a day like today, it's been cold. You see, I got a jacket on, but you're digging that?
That's quite a change, and I love it.
Okay.
The hot sun every day.
Folks, listen, if you haven't lived it, you couldn't explain it. When the sun comes up now in South Florida, like this time of year, it hurts.
Oh, yeah.
It literally hurts you. So that is not the case up here in Western Canada. Now, about the WCBL and road games, you talk about getting on the bus. What's your favorite road ballpark to go to?
Favorite road ballpark? I would have to go with Sylvan Lake.
Is that right? Because it's all brand new and everything. See, that's one I haven't been at. I hear it's beautiful.
Last year when we went for the first game against them in our series, they had a Lamborghini up on the top next to the concession stand for Las Vegas night. And I thought it was surreal.
That's your kind of thing?
I thought it was surreal.
Yeah, no kidding. Sylvan. And then I won't ask you your worst because that's not our thing. But are there fans that get on you at all? Where's the worst hecklers?
Last year, Med Hat during the Eastern Championship for sure, just because of the stakes of the game. But other than that, I'm not one to really hear it. You know,
good for you.
Kind of staying in the lines of the game.
Well, and what about the legendary Ross Wells Park here in Moose Jaw? You've heard about it being legendary. I travel around the province. I'm from here, and people say to me, "You're so lucky. That's the best ballpark with the most history there at Ross Wells." So, what do you know about your own park?
The history behind it, you can see it in the walls when you walk in the locker room. Everything there has a story behind it, and it feels really good knowing that I'm playing in a good spot.
Oh, yeah. Well, you fit this place like a glove. I feel like you'll come back in the years ahead. You'll come back
Yes,
sometime.
sir.
Yeah,
I'd love to.
Yeah, well, and the other thing, too, is what I've noticed calling the games. Midweek, the crowds are always pretty good. But on the weekends, they get into the devil's juice. They get loud, especially if it's a nice night.
Yep.
And I don't think there is a better atmosphere
than Ross Wells
in the league.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. So what's ahead for you guys? You had a good playoff run last year. I should say runs. You were only here for one prior to this. Lost out to Medicine Hat in round 2 last year. What's going to happen this year to win it all? Do you have a team that could?
Yeah, I believe we do have a team that could win it all. But I also believe that our team is going to keep one game at a time and just win them step by step. Because last year we had our goals set on the championship. Obviously, we didn't make it. So maybe this year we'll try a new approach.
Okay, good. Well, it is a heck of a lot of fun to watch all of you guys. It's very clear. You talk about gelling on the field. You guys all get along great. That's a fact, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, Bobby, it's a pleasure watching you. And I guess I should mention this. You talk about what's it going to take for the team to come together. When you get back to Florida, you said you want to coach. And
Yes,
I was
sir.
so excited to hear that. Do you have anywhere specific you'd like to, or just coach in general?
South Florida for sure. The talent down there there's just so much of it. And I would love to just expand my knowledge on the game to the youth.
And just pass it along like you did, yeah. Who's your mentors in the game? Tell me if you don't mind, real quick.
At Keystone, Jamie Shevchuk, one of the greatest coaches I've ever had coached me. Thank you, Coach Eric Marriott and all the guys here, of course. My parents, and then some coaches along the way. I've had some umpires too.
All right, good stuff. Well, and broadcasters now.
Yes, sir.
All right, Bobby. Thank you again. Just finish, well, not finish strong yet. 2/3 of a season to go, man. So keep it rolling. We'll do this again before it's all over.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
Bobby Biceps joining us here. Bobby Picorni at Moose Jaw Golden Ticket Sports Center. We'll be right back with a sports update and viewer takeover right after this on Game Plus Television, Key Radio, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Live, and Spotify.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver.
Hi, my name's Logan Stanko.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
All right, everybody. We're back live. Note to our producers, Clark and director Tuna Turner. What's love got to do with it, Tuna Turner? The boys asked if they could shoot around, and I said, go ahead. There's only 10 minutes left here in overtime, so that's what they're doing. You're going to hear some basketball. Yeah, you're good. Yeah. I'm like, the NBA shows do their pregame shows and the guys are shooting around. So I think we can do 10 minutes here. Actually, 7 now with them in the background. It's not going to bother anything. So that's where the sound is on this off day. This is what Millers do, play basketball and work out on off days. The Overtime segment's brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. More sports that we're getting into, but we talk about baseball having batting cages, golf having driving ranges, and hockey having shooting lanes. If you haven't checked them out yet, now's the time to do it. 28th Street Northeast in Calgary, where skill and fun collide. Check out the Rod Pedersen Show, Lane 2, by the way, and get back to us with how much fun you had. Sports update, as we just talked about with Bobby Biceps, the Florida Panthers have a second chance tonight to hoist the Stanley Cup when they welcome the Edmonton Oilers in Game 5 of their best-of-7 final. The Panthers, who lead the championship series 3-1, were crushed 8-1 in Game 4 Saturday night at Edmonton. Should the Oilers win tonight, Game 6 will go in Edmonton on Friday night. Meanwhile, the Boston Celtics won their record-breaking 18th NBA title on Monday night with a 106-88 victory over the visiting Dallas Mavericks. Celtics clinched the best-of-7 championship series 4-1. The Blue Jays will be aiming to snap Boston's 3-game win streak tonight when they host the Red Sox in the second game of a 3-game set at Rogers Center. The Jays, who surrendered 4 homers in last night's opener and lost 7-3, will send righty Chris Bassett to the mound tonight. WCBL, Western Canadian Baseball League, tonight is Brooks at Saskatoon. For whatever reason, I don't know why, but I like it. Our Saskatoon viewership has spiked. I don't know what it is. Medicine Hat at Weyburn tonight, Fort McMurray at Edmonton, and Sylvan Lake at Lethbridge. Meanwhile, Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority CEO and President Steve Hill said he will interview today the lead investigator who is examining whether WNBA rules were broken when sponsorship deals were offered last month to Las Vegas Aces players. How about that? Hill announced to the players on May 18th that they would each receive a $100,000 scholarship each of the next 2 years from the LVCVA. I guess that's a no-no. Sports update brought to you by EMJ Marketing. Transform your audience with powerful presentations from EMJ Marketing's elite speakers. Check out their website for more information, emjmarketing.com. We're also brought to you by the Saskatchewan Rattlers professional basketball team. They're heating up this season with former Raptor Jalen Harris and a talented coaching staff from the LA Clippers. Be sure to get your tickets now. They're home Thursday night to Calgary on Indigenous Night. Visit Ticketmaster.ca for tickets or head on down to the Rattlers front office in downtown Saskatoon. And also for our friends at Landmark Cinemas, now playing at Landmark Cinemas, Bad Boys Ride or Die. This summer, the world's favorite bad boys are back with their iconic mix of edge-of-your-seat action and outrageous comedy. But this time with a twist. Miami's finest are now on the run. I went to it last night. Darren didn't want me to be a spoiler, so I wouldn't spoil it, but it's 2 thumbs up from the Monday Morning Goalie. Bad Boys Ride or Die, starring Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, in Landmark Cinemas now. Go there and, well, listen, it's my kind of movie. Lots of action, lots of fast cars, lots of palm trees, lots of swearing, lots of laughs. I just had a great time at the movie theater last night. Hey, Bill Edwards, you just showed up a little late. He says, good morning, crew. 3 minutes left in the show, bro. John Ohm sleeping in today. That's all right. It's one of those days. And here in Western Canada, coolish to the point that you're not going to want to get out of bed anyways. Monty in Saskatoon writes in and says, great show, RP. Go, Edmonton, go. Allie in Texarkana says, great show. You could have Bobby on anytime. Have a great afternoon, RP and squad. Oh, yeah, we only put the good-looking people on here. Craig's watching from the Hockey Hall of Fame in Sunrise. You might see him on television tonight. Can I tell them, Craig? Craig Campbell will be one of the guys. You all know Phil Pritchard with the crazy hair. Craig is the far more reserved of the two. If Phil's watching, tell him to forget I said that, Craig. Big Argo fan. We talked CFL earlier, Craig. He says 50-50, it appears, for tonight. He's obviously talking about our poll question, who will win Game 5. He says, we'll see how the game unfolds. And to be honest, yeah, I'm excited. Just a fan here, just an observer, not a fan. I'm ready for summer. I'm ready for this thing to end. Tired of the belly aching from people because we've gotten from Panthers fans, Serena and I, that we're not fans enough. You should be cheering for the Panthers. No. We're an award-winning NHL podcast out of Florida. We don't say that we're Panthers fans or Lightning fans. And by the way, she's an Oilers fan. And for that reason, I do want the Panthers to win the Stanley Cup tonight. She has not come on this week because I don't think she's in the emotional state. She's very emotional with her team in the Stanley Cup final. She is that Oiler fan. And thank you to Ken Reid and Bobby Picorni, by the way, for coming on today. Ken was awesome in hour one where he said every single citizen of Edmonton is pulling for the Oilers and into the game tonight. He goes, you don't even get that in Toronto. And that's the thing with Serena, that why she loves them so much. That. So we'll see. We'll see if hockey ends tonight or if we're going back up to Edmonton for Friday's Game 6. It's a fun time of year. But we're loving the baseball, we're loving the basketball, and all the rest. We'll do it all again tomorrow, noon Eastern, here on Game Plus and Key Radio.
McFly, hello.